This also goes for every Trinbagonian who gone to live in a foreign land. Now is the time to come home and do something instead of staying out there and freezing. Because now, more than ever, we must show
Yes, indeed.
discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
So let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique together. I want to welcome you to the hub. And again, I want to encourage those on Facebook and YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you share the live, you give your friends on your page the opportunity to view, to follow, to listen in. I want to start off tonight by saying it is one thing to criticize, but it's a totally different thing when all you do is criticize. Because nothing is wrong with you criticizing something, a program, an initiative. But when you see good things happening, you must also commend it. You must also applaud it. You must also praise it. You must also highlight it and let people know that it's good. But if all you do is condemn, our Grenadian people will see you in a different light. Because don't think that our people are stupid. If you read the comments under the feed or the live program of NNP pundits and surrogates, or even their live meetings, pocket meetings and so on, people are observing how negative they have become. They criticize, they condemn, and that's all they do. Kate Lewis at the last NNP meeting condemned the free hot meal program. She condemned the free tuition program. And this is what she had to say regarding the free hot meal program. And it made me wonder for a moment why these people are vying to represent constituencies again or vying for public office because they want to form the government. They want to get back into parliament. But what is the reason behind it? What is the purpose? Because if you cannot, at this point, while in opposition, take the initiative to mobilize the farmers, to mobilize the fishers, to mobilize the small businesses in your constituency, to help the 3 or 4 schools or 5 schools in your constituency so that the school feeding program can get a boost, can be supported not just by government, but by you. Well, you can't do that. But you would condemn it. You would talk about all that's bad about it, but you are not doing anything to help to fix it. And that's my problem with that particular individual.
And what about the school feeding program? They removed the $1 and they had no plan, but they just wanted a headline. They wanted a photo op. So now the cooks in schools are scrambling to provide a hot meal for the children. Some days they go without meals. Ask the principals in the various schools, and if they are honest, they will speak the truth. I heard for the new school term, they provided meats. So we expect the children to eat meat alone? Yes, I heard that they're afraid, but you must speak the truth because only the truth will set you free.
Folks, if you listen to this woman, remember she is an elected member of parliament. She gets for her constituency $10,000 every month to help in any way possible within that constituency. She also gets her salary of about $5,000 monthly. I understand that she teaches in some other school or some school. I'm not able to verify whether it's Westmoreland or another school. But I am saying this woman represents a constituency. So let us assume in her constituency you have 6 schools or 5 schools. You think, or don't you think, this woman with her team should go about identifying the farmers in that constituency? They must have excess. They do tomatoes, they must have excess. They do watermelons, they must have excess. They do cabbages, they must have excess. They do lemons and limes and citrus across the board, they must have excess. Avocado, coconut, beans, lettuce, yam, sweet potato, pumpkin, they must have excess. Banana, dashing, they must have excess. So you telling me that she cannot take the initiative and speak to the 30 farmers or 40 farmers in her constituency, saying to them, we have 8 schools, 5 schools in our constituency, and it's not about politics because there are kids there that come from NNP homes. There are kids in those schools that come from NDC homes. So it's not about politics. It's about assisting and feeding the kids, the students. So not because the government says it's free and they're supplying the schools with items, it means that you can't take the initiative to mobilize the farmers, and not only the farmers, but people in the constituency. There are people with backyard, with banana, with dasheen, with yam, with blogger, with, they have excess stuff that you can tap into. When cherry in season, it's plenty cherry. When avocado in season, it's plenty avocado. When cashew in season, it's plenty cashew. When lime, lemon, oranges, grapefruit in season, it's plentiful. When they catch in jacks, it's jacks, lap and cut. I am saying you need to take the initiative instead of complaining. So you're highlighting all the problems that you claim.
And what about the school feeding program? They removed the $1.
Right, so the government of Grenada removed the $1 that the students normally pay. Folks, you don't need to be a genius to conclude that that $1 was never able to buy the items required to prepare the hot meal every day at the school. So the government was supplying the schools with items, with stuff, even if they were collecting the $1. But they also recognized that there were students who just couldn't afford the $1, couldn't pay the $1 to get a bowl of soup or a hot meal on a school day because they come from very poor background or parentage. As a result, the government decided it is a free program. So they're supplying the schools with items and with soft financing to make sure that the students are fed. The program is not a perfect program. There will be schools that will get supplies, and some may use up a certain item faster than another school. And there might be a need to get that item or some of those stuff in even before it's due to come in, right? So there will be challenges. But I am saying this woman is out there talking about this. She's an MP. She's not taking one initiative to do anything to help. But she can go on a platform and bump her gum. And the NNP supporters saying, yeah, yeah. But the majority of NNP supporters with children, their children are part of that program. Their children rely on that program to be fed when they go to school. The majority of those NNP supporters, because the majority of them are poor and vulnerable. And that's the reality. So they are more affected than anything else. So she needs to take initiative to help those schools in her constituency at least, so that they would have stuff always. And mind you, she doesn't have to plan the stuff. She could mobilize the farmers and the fishers and the, homeowners with backyard gardening and so on. Only when they have excess, you don't have to force their hands when they have excess.
And they had no plan, but they just wanted a headline. They wanted a photo op. So now the cooks in schools are scrambling to provide a hot meal for the...
And you're proud of that? You are proud of the fact that cooks in schools are scrambling to provide a hot meal. And mind you, all these things that this woman is saying is make-up story, She's a pathological liar in my belief. Because if you speak to the Ministry of Education and you speak to the people responsible for that program, they will tell you that's not true. If you speak to principals, they will tell you that is not true. They will not tell you that the program is perfect, but they will tell you that the government provided supplies to these schools. It is sickening that this woman will go on a platform and tell those lies, but she's not doing anything to help those schools. Take an initiative. Start something.
Children, some days they go without meals.
So you know that some days the students are going without meals. And as a political jack donkey, as a political Jenny, you would not even have the sense to mobilize the farmers and the fishers and the small business owners and the people in that constituency or close to that school to help them to get stuff. You have no feelings. Come on. So this woman, I mean, when she speaks, she sounds so much like a political lunatic. It's not even funny, So you know that they're going without a hot meal a day. So why not take the initiative to do something to help them? And it pains me because this political lunatic was re-elected. So she won the first time, right? And then she won again. And in her constituency, it is considered to be one of the poorest. Her constituency. But still, for all, she's not going to take any initiative to do anything to help anybody in those schools. I mean, it's sickening.
They wanted a photo op. So now the cooks in schools are scrambling to provide a hot meal for the children. Some days they go without meals. Ask the principals in the various schools, and if they're honest, they will speak the truth. I heard for the new school term, they provided meats. So we expect the children to eat meat alone? Yes, I heard that they're afraid, but you must...
This woman, she's such an embarrassment. So, okay, they provided meat. Why not take the initiative, right? At least do it in one school or two as NNP or as a member of parliament for that constituency. And bring 2 bags of rice. Bring 2 bags of flour. Bring some provision. Bring some vegetables. That would cost you, let's say, $2,000 for a school for a week. Just do that as a gesture. Take it from the constituency allowance that you are collecting and bring it to that school, or do it in 2 schools, because the money is not yours anyways. It is money coming from taxpayers going to you for the constituency allowance to help your constituency. So why not take that initiative? Come on. But you're on a platform pumping your dirty mouth, your dirty political mouth. And your supporters or the NNP supporters saying, hey, pepe puri. Come on. And what is bad, eh? I understand this woman was a teacher. And I understand that she's still teaching in some school, even if she's a, an MP now and so on. That's what I understand. I don't know how true it is. But it says a lot about the NNP. They don't like people. They like power. And they could only do things when they're in government. Look at the Honorable Lennox Andrews, for example. Right? The Honorable Lennox Andrews. He went to the school with banana and he gave it to the school for the school feeding program. He is an MP just like this woman. He went around, mobilized some of the farmers, get the provision, the banana, and drop it off in those schools. Come on, look at the amount. Basket upon baskets. That is a caring member of parliament. Not grinding and groaning and complaining. No. He's taking the initiative to do that. Look at the first aid, even the first aid, the 4-H clubs in schools. They are planting stuff in the school garden. The 4-H club. Planting stuff so he could supply the kitchen. Look at them. Students, children, young children. Well, children are already young. Students and, children. You could see maybe they're 8 or 9 years. Or maybe even less than that. Look at them. Planting and harvesting stuff to put on the table for the school feeding program. But why this woman, who is a member of parliament, cannot take an initiative to bring stuff to at least 1 school or 2 schools? And I challenge this woman, she can't tell us which school she's talking about. She cannot even name a school where they're having challenges with items to cook and prepare for the students. But she's on a stage, on a platform, saying these things.
And what about the school feeding program? They removed the $1 and they had no plan, but they just wanted a headline. They wanted a photo op. So now the cooks in schools are scrambling to provide a hot meal for the children. Some days they go without meals. Ask the principals in the various schools.
I'm saying, if you know that they're going without meals, well, why not organize? I am telling you what to do. Because this has nothing to do with politics. It's kids, students. Mobilize the farmers in your constituency. Mobilize the fishers in your constituency. Mobilize the small businesses in your constituency. Mobilize people with backyard gardens. They may not be a recognized farmer. They might just be a homeowner with a piece of land, and they have banana in the backyard. They have blogo in the backyard. They have mangoes in the backyard. They have oranges in the backyard. They have callaloo in the backyard. Mobilize them. And you don't have to give every month, but you would get a number of them given on a monthly basis. And bring the stuff to the school and bring it to the principal and say to the principal, that's a gift from Kate Lewis, or a gift from the NNP, or a gift from the community. We don't have no problem with that. Take some initiative, but you just complaining, you know all the problems, but not one of them you fixing, not one damn problem you solving, not one.
And what about the school feeding program?
And what about the school feeding program? She sounds like a bloody lunatic. Politically,
They removed the $1 and they had no plan, but they just wanted a headline. They wanted a photo op. So now the cooks in schools are scrambling to provide a hot meal for the children.
right? So you know that. Why are you not taking the initiative to help that school or the schools? Why the NNP not doing that?
Some days they go without meals.
So you know that they're going without meals some days. Why not provide? Why not help them in whatever way that you can? All this woman is good at is condemning. All this woman is good at is talking bad about everything and anything. It's sad, very sad. And mind you, pure lies. They concoct stories. That's how the NNP operates. Pure lies. Up to now, this woman, this political Jenny, Jenny of an ass, politically, because she's a Jenny ass, politically. She can't state a school that is experiencing these things. Call a principal name. Call a school name now. And let us go and find out. You're not going to do that. But you go on a platform bumping your dirty old mouth politically. It's just sad. Very sad. But not only the school feeding program she attacked, the free tuition policy she also condemned.
Let's talk about education. Because they like to boast about free tuition as if this is something that never happened before. But let me tell them the facts that free tuition has been provided throughout the years and even under our administration. But we did it different. We did it better. It was a better policy for education access for everyone. We provided free tuition to those who couldn't afford it, because that left resources to provide transportation and meal allowance for those children. How can you expect a young person to remain in school if they can't afford bus, if they cannot afford lunch? It is no surprise.
Look, you see, folks, this woman, she believes by saying these things, she's going to get people to believe her. And the folks on the live, let me tell you this. I have been in talk radio for 11 years doing this program. And I have enough experience to know what to feature on this program and what not to feature. In fact, it was because of my producing skills, the NDC emerged significantly so in the polls last election and was relevant in the lead up to the election. My producing and publishing and doing programs like these to show you who these people are. So when you're in the classroom, sit back, relax, and learn. I am the host of this program, and I am also the producer of this program. You hear me? And when I have somebody featuring them and talking about the issues, I know what I'm doing. You hear me? So once you get that, you should know. If you're new to the classroom, go in the back. Because I have been out here long enough doing what I'm doing and getting fruits out of it. Because you need to know these people. It's not me featuring them or giving them too much airtime. It means that you don't know politics and you don't understand small island politics. So some of you need to just sit your ass down, excuse me, and follow the program. Don't fret me. All right? Sit your butt down and follow the program. That's important, and you will learn a lot out of it. Folks, I want to say this. This woman is a MP, a member of parliament. She was elected. She knows all the problems. All the problems. But not one day she came forward with a proposal, a suggestion, a path to fix it. The free tuition she's saying existed under NNP. That's what she's claiming. But I can tell you, when the NDC came into power, that's the first time we heard and I would not even mention the name first. That's the first time we heard CC come out and say,
If students turned out in their numbers at the T.A. Marisho Community College for the first day of registration on Monday. Registrar at the college, Marva Bowen Neptune, during an interview with our news team, reported an influx of applications, which she attributes to the removal of tuition fees at the institution.
What we see now is influx of applications because, of course, with the free tuition, students are now realizing it is very affordable, so they are applying.
Right. So this is the registrar at the college saying they're seeing record numbers of people, students, come in and register for college. But why? We didn't hear that before if they had free tuition in place before. Why? So the NNP wants people to believe that they had this thing in place before. But anybody with a liquor sense will say, but wait, but how we didn't hear about that? And NNP likes to talk. They love to boast and brag. We never heard about that before. When? But lo and behold, all of a sudden, they're talking of Zoe. Right, so all of a sudden, Zoe.
The Dickon Mitchell-led administration is making good on one of its promises to transform the education system in Grenada through increased efforts for post-secondary and tertiary education by removing the tuition fees for students attending the T.A. Marisho Community College and the New Life organization, NULU. According to Minister with Responsibility for Education, Honorable David Andrew, this is government's way of trying to bridge a gap in the job market.
It's in keeping with our commitment to make access to education a lot easier for the average Grenadian. In fact, we believe that a key element of our nation's transformation resides in education. We believe that there's a serious gap in the products that we turn out and the work requirement. And when we do analyze, there is a skills gap. In an international sense, it works towards achieving SDG 4, Sustainable Development Goal number 4, access to education for all.
He went on to highlight some of the benefits of the free tuition program policy, which has been approved by the cabinet.
And gives every young person the opportunity to continue in studies, whether it's in arts and science, or whether it's in the technical education, or whether it's in some refrigeration, or some electrical program, or the technologies. But we assure each person the opportunity to continue on with the education, not only at TAMCC, but at NULO also. So we are quite thrilled with that, and we think the benefits will just be tremendous. One, it will take a lot of young people off the streets. But further, the government is insistent on making sure that these opportunities are available, not just to persons leaving school system now, but to all persons who have not gone to NULO to this point.
Noting that this is in no way politically motivated, Minister Andrew explained that this is an opportunity for every Grenadian and will create avenues for higher education and empowerment.
We encourage you to go to the college. Nobody's asking you what your political affiliation is. It's free and open to all Grenadians. And regardless to your political affiliation, we want you to benefit, because if you benefit, whether you support A, B, C, or D, Grenada benefits. And that's what this government is interested in seeing happen as part of the transformation going forward.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostan.
Right. And you see, what is important here is that the program is not NNP or NDC. It's for any student who wants to go to TAMCC or NULO. And the tuition is being paid for by taxpayers, by the government of Grenada. This is a new initiative. But all of a sudden, the NNP is claiming, well, it's been there before. It's nothing new. So you just say good night and go and sleep. Say good night. Say good night. Say good night and go and sleep, please. Hello. Go and sleep.
Good night.
Are you ready to say good night now? Say good night. Go on.
Good night.
Right, good. Nice. Go and sleep. Go on. And close the door. Right. So you see, folks, it is important to understand. Go and sleep, Zoe, and close the door, please. That every good initiative that the NDC rolls out, the NNP wants to grab it. They want to claim it. If this thing existed before, it would have been a big thing. Just as they have the New Imani training program, they talk about the New Imani training program until I get tired of it. Because they wanted everybody to know about it. So why you didn't talk when you were in government about this free tuition policy or free tuition, so that everybody will know that it existed? But lo and behold, you're on a platform now talking about it. And mind you, in a negative way, you know. This woman is talking about the dropout rate at TAMCC and NULO. You know, when I find out, because I did my own little investigation, the dropout rate at TAMCC and NULO is not very high. And in any given year, in any institution of learning, one or two students might drop out. That's kind of, you understand the point? But to go on a stage or platform and talk this nonsense, it makes me get angry, because this is a good initiative by government. And no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, if you're honest and true, you will admit that this is a very good initiative, giving people an opportunity to access tertiary level education. You think it's easy for a parent to find $810 every year for 3 years in some instances? Because there are some students who are doing a 3-year program. You think it's easy for them to find that? And then they have to buy the jerseys and pay for minor other things and still help the student or the child or children with transportation or other things like that? It's not easy. So them getting an ease up of $810. And in some instances, you have 2 children going at once. I know of parents who have 2 children going to TAM CC at once. So you could imagine. So that burden that the government is easing off the backs of parents, that's very important. So to go on a platform and run down a program like that, an initiative like that, I mean, come on. And these people are putting themselves up for office. Because come the next election, she has all kind of nice things to say and all kind of promises that they're going to make. But we have to see through them now. And that is why I'm featuring it. So you can understand their mindset and how deceitful they are, how hypocrite they are, how wicked they could be, even before the election comes. So you have a greater appreciation of their tricks. Because, come on, don't matter what side of the political aisle you are on, you have to agree that the free tuition policy by this government is a good one for all the students. They're not discriminating. They're not segregating. They're not saying, well, your mother driving a car, or your mother have this work, or your mother have this house, we're not giving you. But the one who has a boat house and who doesn't have a car, we're giving you. They're not discriminating. A child is a child. Because little do you know, the person who has the car and the house may not have the kind of money that you may think they have. Because at the end of the month, the money goes towards paying the mortgage for the vehicle and the house. And they would have less disposable income. They may have less money to pay for X and pay for Y. So don't make that fool you to believe the person who has a car or working in this place has more money to send their children to school and other things like that. No. Nope. Because remember, the free textbook program, the NDC rolled out the free textbook program. Books for all the students. You could be going in private school, public school. Every child got the free textbook because a child is a child. When the NNP came into power, they cut out the free textbooks from the private schools because to them, once you're sending your child in a private school, you have money. That's how they viewed it. And they don't see the parents of the students of the private school as paying taxes. They just cut it out. And then they come with the nonsense, well, we're giving who could afford, we're giving who could afford, who can't afford, and we're giving the poor and the vulnerable because they consider their supporters as poor and vulnerable. That's how they coin them. That's how they shape them. That's how they make people believe that it's only their supporters that they have to take care of. They call them the poor and the vulnerable. So every single social safety net program, over $100 million worth, were going directly to those NNP supporters. When the NNP was in power, when the new National Party was in power, in government, the NNP administration was given to their supporters over $100 million worth in social safety net programs. Because the majority of people who benefited from those programs were NNP supporters. And I'm saying the NNP administration gave that to their supporters for years. So you have the debushing program. Their supporters, man, they dominate that program, getting the contracts and the fortnights and so on. Their supporters, the seed program, because they say if you have a TV in your house, if you have a couch or you have a bed in your house or a stove, you don't qualify. for the seed. So the people who qualified predominantly source NNP, because it's many of them sleeping on the floor, many of them cooking on coals wood, many of them messing in a pit latrine, and many of them they they never had those things. And if they could have afforded it, they refused to do so because they wanted to benefit from the seed program, the poor relief assistance program. So they remained dot poor because that was the standard they set for them to get it. And then you have the housing repair program. They were getting all the materials, and the material will stay under the house and rot because they would get the materials and they cannot pay to do the repair. Some of them would turn around and sell the materials. Then you have the back to school voucher program where they were getting that thing. And then you could go to the other safety net programs, the Imani training program and all different programs. They set up the thing. They design it in such a way to benefit their people. And then they call them poor and vulnerable. So everything was going to them. So when the free textbook program rolled out, NDC saw a child as a child. Don't matter if you're sending your children in private school or not. Because sometimes people are sending their children in private school because conveniently, that's the best thing to do for some of the parents, based on the time that they are finishing work, based on where they're working, the distance to go from work to the school to collect their children, right? And then we can go on and on. It's not because they have money. No, that's not the case. I don't have money. I volunteer my time and effort to do this program. But my two children, they're at private school. They go to private school because it's close by and more attention can be given to them right there and then. I have a very good relationship with the principal and staff. So I'm comfortable with having them go there. But does that mean that I have money? No, I don't. But you see, the NNP saw a child as poor and rich. And they say everybody who sends their children to a private school, they have money. And those who send in a public school, they don't. It's just stupid. But the children graduate from the private school at the primary level, and where do they go? In the public school. The secondary schools, the majority of them are public. So it's the same thing NNP is talking with the free tuition policy. They vex because NDC is giving all the students who are going to TAMCC, all the students at New Low, that free tuition. Yeah, that's the problem. That is what they vex with, But the NNP has they becoming so negative. They becoming so bad mind, so wicked, that every good thing that the NDC does, they condemning it, they criticizing it. But politics doesn't work that way. You believe by doing that, you're going to waltz your way back into power? That Grenadians near and far going to vote for you because you're condemning and criticizing the NDC? And the things that you're condemning and criticizing them for are good things? You go and speak to the 6,000 or so students who attended TAMCC in the last 3 years, who benefited from that program. Go and speak to the 4,000 students who in the last 3 years who attended New Low and benefited from that program. Go and speak to them, and they will tell you that it was a burden eased up or removed from the backs of their mother or father or their parents, and they were grateful for it. The free hot meal program is feeding 13,000 students daily. Go and speak to the students or go and speak to the parents who are benefiting from that. They condemn the WASH program. They have all kind of bad things to say about the WASH program. In fact, that same Rara called Kate Lewis had all kind of stuff to say about the WASH program and hinting that it existed under NNP. Well, if it existed under NNP, bring us and show us 10, 15, or 20 bathrooms that were constructed properly. Not just any old thing because election was coming around. Constructed properly, tile, painted, plumbing done, electricity and so on, with cupboards and everything like that. Go and show us. Show us some of the people who got it. But the NDC is doing it and making sure that a modern bathroom and toilet facility is given to people with pit latrines. And let me tell you this, NNP left 8,715 people using pit latrines and open bathrooms with this galvanized thing around it. That is what they did. When people bring certain people home, they shame. Sometimes they're not even going as far as to bring them home or invite them home. They shame because they have to go and use the pit latrine. If they want the number one or number two, or number one, they might just do it in the bush, outside. Now the NDC is giving them their dignity back. All of a sudden, the NNP want to criticize and condemn such a program. And every good program, they want to claim it. And they had that day before, and they were doing that day before, and it was in the pipeline before, and you know, some men want to use some hard, tough words, some hard adjectives to describe these people, you know, because my mouth ain't good, you know. You hear me? But I just hold back. Hold back. Because they ain't good. They're wicked. Wicked to their own people. Wicked to their own people. Because these are good things. When the government does something good, you should be quick to applaud it. That is what a good citizen will do. Come on. You hear them talk about the pay and grade for the police officers. And that the NNP was working on the pay and grade. What jackassness are hearing? You hearing on the NNP platform, you know. NNP saying that they were working on the pay and grade for police officers. I mean, that's the worst I've heard, you know. Police officers for 10 years plus were fighting, pleading, begging for the salaries to brought up to the scale of a teacher or a nurse, right? Or even a prison officer. They wanted their salaries to be increased because for decades it was not done, or years it was not done. NNP was there for 23 years and a half, and they never addressed the thing, you know. NDC came into power and they addressed the thing. You know what the NNP saying? Huh? NNP saying that they were actually preparing to do that. They had it in the pipeline and they were planning to do it. They wanted to do it. They were going to do it. But you had 23 years and a half to do it. You never did. NDC came now and they did it. You want to take some credit. They want to take some credit, you know. But credit for what? You speak to the police officers and they will tell you they were negotiating and begging for this thing for a long time and you never gave them. So NDC increased the salary of a constable of police by $710. And then you go up the rank, they're getting more money on their salary. I mean, folks, boy, I just cannot understand how people could support the NNP. I just can't. Trust me. Because they're not progressive. They're not the future. They're the past. They're stale. They're outdated. They lack vision. You see, nurses received $500 on their salary. More. Doctors $1,000 more in their salary. The NNP, you go in certain circles and you hear the NNP saying, well, would he plan to give them something too? Would he plan to increase their salary too? So when campaign time comes around, they're going to promise these public officers money and all kind of stuff. So the public officers now should know what they experience under NNP and know that it's all a campaign gimmick because they want to get into power and they will do anything to get into power, even if they have to come on the platform and say that they get in breadfruit, a breadfruit price go up to how much you guys say? $20, something like that? Pure lies. Folks, it is time for us to wake up and call these people out. And the reason why I'm featuring these things is for you to get a greater appreciation of the nonsense that they're speaking. Because they're not doing so in the back room, bedroom, or bathroom, you know. They're doing it on a public platform. And many times you don't see it, you don't hear it. Or if you do, others may not have heard it. I feature it. So you can see the difference between NNP and NDC and the quality of candidates and MPs you have on the NDC side versus the NNP side. Because the NNP message is poor. So I am doing this as a service to you so you can understand the difference. So when that time comes, you can make the right decision. That's important. That's why I'm doing it. So sometimes I feature those people, and you have to understand that I'm producing this show. And the reason why we have 800 and something people listening to me, right, on Facebook and on YouTube. So Facebook, 421. On YouTube, 430 people listening to me is because they understand I produce these programs, I deliver to you, I bring you insight, I motivate you, I educate you, I enlighten you, and I learn in the process too. Because I am also gathering knowledge. And that is important. Very, very important. Because the NNP, they have programs too. They're on tonight and tomorrow and all those different days, throwing out all the lies and misinformation and so on. Attacking this minister, attacking this policy, attacking that. Because they believe by doing those things, they're going to get into power. But what I believe, if we talk about the good things that the government is doing, if we highlight some of the things that the NNP is saying that is false and correcting it, that ultimately our people are going to make up their minds. Our people are smart. Our people are clever. And they're following what's happening in this country. They're following what's going down. Grenada is way better off under the most honorable Deacon Mitchell and the NDC than under Keith Mitchell and NNP and them. Grenada is moving forward. People are doing better. We are not perfect, but step by step we are getting there. So folks, I want to wish you all the best. And I'll be back with you again on this journey tomorrow, God's willing, starting from 8 in the a.m. Bye for now, and have a wonderful night.